And that's a hard line to draw, because it's like, I can't explain these things. And you can try and justify it away, and it'll loosely fit, just enough to make you feel better about coming back. But there's some stuff, it's just like, I genuinely don't know how to explain this other than this one explanation. So do you remember Brian Davies?
Yes.
He was the supervisor before I took over. So he would come in about 4:50, 4:55 every day. I would come in at 4. And I would start on the main floor, and this is back before we had the glass double doors locked down. And so 4:55, the locks would trigger, and we would open the doors and prop them open with the magnets. And we would go down all the way to the breezeway between the library and the city center, and we would prop those doors open and prop both the glass doors open. So we're walking down the hall, propping the doors open. We get to the city center, or the council chambers, and we're talking about a setup that might be going on in there later that morning. And we prop the wood doors open, and he's like, all right, well, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to head downstairs. And I said, okay. So I start walking back down towards the closet here, and he's probably 25, 30 feet behind me. And I get to the elevator, and the elevator comes up by itself. There's nobody else in the building. I mean, Justin's not even here. When Brian came in, he's like, it's weird. Have you seen Justin this morning? I said, no, I've not seen anybody but you. He's like, oh, his truck wasn't out in his usual parking spot. It's like, oh, maybe he's just running a little late. So I know Justin wasn't there. I'm fairly confident Travis wasn't there, because he usually came in, 6:30. And so as far as I know, Brian and I are the only ones in the city center at that moment. And so he's 20 or 30 feet behind me. And I walk by the elevator, and I get maybe 2 feet past the elevator, and I hear bing, and the door opens. Whatever. I don't know what happened. Maybe there's some kind of a program on the elevator that says at 5 a.m. it comes up to the main floor and is ready for use. I don't know. So I don't think anything of it. Well, the door shuts, and it goes down by itself. To make the elevator go down in the city center, you got to punch in that 4-digit code and then hit the button. So it doesn't just go down by itself. And so I look back, and Brian's still 10 feet away from the elevator, and he's stopped. And I turn around, and I was expecting to see him in front of the elevator, and he's like, did you call the elevator? And I said, I didn't touch nothing. I just walked by it, and he's like, oh, that's weird. And so I take 2 more steps. I come through the glass doors, and I'm standing by the vending machines, and I heard something kind of behind me on the stairwell that goes up to the attorney's suite. And Brian hasn't moved. And so we hear from what sounds like upstairs, we hear keys jingling. And I turned to Brian and I said, we don't have anybody upstairs this morning yet, do we? He's like, I don't think so. So there's these keys jingling, and then they come down the stairs, and it goes down the hall, and Brian's like, whatever it was just walked right past me. I heard the jingle like I was standing next to it.
The jingle came down?
Yeah, the jingle came down the stairs and went down the hall towards the breezeway of the city council chambers. Oh. And Brian and I are just standing there staring at each other, and he's white as a ghost, and I'm just like, I'm going to your office. But that one, both of us, the rest of the day, were like, dude, did that really happen? I don't know how to process what we just experienced, because this is unlike anything I've ever seen.